WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar, 1 o'clock in Porto Novo. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world on WADR.org. Welcome to Newslink. Here are the top stories. New opposition coalition emerges in Benin ahead of 2026 elections.
We will have candidates in every electoral sequence, young patriots. They are from our different parties. Our objective is to win the legislative and the municipal elections. If we win the municipal elections, you will see how the change will take place.
Nigeria's Electoral Commission charged to caution politicians over premature 2027 campaign as it is illegal. Senegal deploys additional security forces along border with Mali amid rising terror threats. And Liberia and Sierra Leone launch ECOWAS free roaming service to enhance regional connectivity.
For our citizens who are trading across the border, we want to make sure that through telecommunication, free movement of people and goods can be nothing less than possible.
Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
Christopher Aticho with Newslink.
Many thanks for joining our broadcast and a warm welcome to our listeners within and beyond the sub-region. Let's begin this edition with some political stories, starting in Benin, where a new opposition political coalition has been officially launched ahead of the 2026 general elections. Recognized as the third voice, the alliance brings together several opposition parties and political movements. The coalition positions itself as a credible alternative to the current government, aiming to offer a new political direction for the country. Sankole Janko has more in this report.
The new opposition coalition, known as the Third Voice, brings together political parties such as the Pan-African People's Party (PPP), the New National Force and the emerging movements claiming to be part of the civil society. The Third Voice presents itself as an alternative that aims to put the general interest back at the center of political action. Jean-Baptiste Unge, president of the Pan-African People's Party, is spokesperson for the coalition.
Third, we want to give the floor to a silent majority of Beninis who no longer recognize themselves in the current political order. Fourth, we believe that politics should not be a battlefield for personal ambitions, but a level for sustainable and harmonious development of our country. We aspire to a popular democracy, humanist and patriotic, placing the welfare of each Beninis at the heart of all political, economic and social-cultural decisions.
Other priorities of the new opposition platform include deep institutional reforms and the restoration of trust between governments and citizens. Despite the tightening of the electoral code for taking part in the next elections, opponents say they are ready to go for state power. In this contest, Jean-Baptiste Unge says,
we will have candidates in every electoral sequence, young patriots. They are from our different parties. Our objective is to win the legislative and the municipal elections. If we win the municipal elections, you will see how the change will take place.
Although the pragmatic outlines of the Third Voice still need to be refined, its members assure that work is already underway to offer the Beninese people a concrete social project. The new opposition coalition is expected to soon join forces with main opposition party, the Democrats.
And that's Sankole Janko with the details of a report by WADR's correspondent Aziz Adam Sole in Cotonou. Still talking politics, but in Nigeria, where prominent human rights lawyer Femi Fanala has criticized early campaigns ahead of the 2027 general elections, the senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, asked the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to caution politicians against breaching the Electoral Act 2022. Fanala said politicians must provide solutions to the problems confronting the country, adding that those in government have a greater responsibility to focus on the governance and engage citizens before taking decisions. He cited some sections of the Constitution requiring parties to uphold state policy objective, adding that government's primary duty is safeguarding citizen security and welfare.
As far as the Electoral Act of Nigeria, Electoral 2022 is concerned, the ongoing electioneering campaign is illegal, totally illegal. It's also diversionary. Because what Nigerians expect now, what the law provides for, is governance of the country without distraction. So it's not time yet to campaign. And I do hope that INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, would draw the attention of politicians, including the government, including those who constitute the government, to the relevant provisions of the Electoral Act. That there is no provision yet, there is no room yet for campaigning in Nigeria 2 years ahead of election. It's not part of our law. If the people in power want to amend the law, that should be done. I will say that, and the media must help Nigeria, particularly when it's time to campaign. We must take politicians out of the cocoon of ethnicity, religion, and other primordial considerations. We must address the problems that are confronting our people. If you say you want to replace those who are in power, what is your solution to the electricity crisis in the education sector, bad roads in the country, and other problems confronting Nigeria as a nation? It's not just enough to say, I will be in power for 4 years, I will be in power for 8 years. What do you want to do there? And for those who are in power, you have a greater responsibility to concentrate on governance and consult with the people.
Femi Fanala is a senior advocate in Nigeria and a human rights lawyer. Still in Nigeria, at least 24 people have been confirmed dead following a tragic collision between a commercial bus and a truck in Niger State, north-central Nigeria. The incident has reignited concerns over road safety in the country, particularly on newly rehabilitated roads, where speeding and poor enforcement of traffic regulations remain pressing issues. From Abuja, WADR's Usman Umar reports.
It was a grim scene along the Pai newly rehabilitated road in Niger State, where a head-on collision between a commercial bus and a truck claimed 24 lives. The Director General of Niger State Emergency Management Agency, Abdullahi Ara, confirmed the incident to West Africa Democracy Radio. He said the crash occurred late Monday, leaving 11 others critically injured and rushed to nearby hospitals.
Yes, this afternoon we had a terrible road accident along Paiko-Mina Road, Paiko-Lapai Road, along Paiko-Lapai Road, where several people were dead. They lost their lives.
When you say several people, do we have how many people, sir?
Okay, precisely, let me say 24, because it was a truck with two other commercial vehicles, so they ran into each other.
Preliminary investigations, according to the emergency agency, indicate that excessive speeding is the likely cause. The road, which was recently reconstructed, may have encouraged motorists to drive recklessly, disregarding speed limits and safety regulations. Abdullahi Ara is now urging all road users to exercise caution and obey traffic laws to avoid more tragedies.
We will not relent on the continuing orientation of the commercial driver. This, we are going to achieve that through synergy with Federal Road Safety Corps. We've done that before. We will still continue to do it again. We will continue. We will not be tired of conducting sensitization program for the commercial driver.
Deadly road accidents remain a recurring problem in Nigeria, often blamed on poor enforcement of traffic rules, speeding, and poor condition of vehicles. As families mourn their loved ones, this latest tragedy adds to growing calls across the sub-region for stricter road safety measures and improved driver awareness campaigns. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
To some security matters first in Senegal, the government is stepping up its security presence along the border with Mali. 3 new gendarmerie units have been deployed to the eastern region of the country. According to Senegalese authorities, the move aims to prevent any cross-border infiltration. This comes in response to early July attack by armed groups, most notably the Group for the Support of Islam JNIM, an Al-Qaeda affiliate in western Mali. Augustin Colley has the details in this report.
3 units, including a Gendarmerie Legion in Kedugu, a research brigade in Tambacounda, and a rapid surveillance and intervention group in Saraya, have been operational since Saturday. According to the military command, particularly the one based in Kidira, the entry point of Mali, the creation of these units reflects the desire of senior authorities to guarantee the protection of populations and property, as well as the security of the national territory. Coordinated attacks carried out in early July targeted army positions in several towns in western Mali. One of the attacked towns, Djibouti, is located in the immediate vicinity of the Senegalese border, less than 500 meters from the town of Kidira. These attacks were claimed by the Group for the Support of Islam and Muslims, JNIM, an Al-Qaeda affiliate. The statement from the General Staff emphasizes the need to establish a climate of trust with the population in order to foster better collaboration. As part of this fight against crime, the Senegalese government also banned, starting July 24 and for a period of 1 month, the use of motorcycles at night throughout the Bakel department. This means of transportation is widely used by armed groups.
Augustin Colley filed that report. Still on matters of security, but in Niger, mixed reactions are trailing the new security initiative launched by the transitional government, known as Garkwakasa, which translates to Shield of the Homeland. The program aims to mobilize civilians in support of security forces in the fight against urban insecurity. It is led by the M62 civil society movement and backed by the Nigerian Ministry of Interior with an objective of strengthening community involvement and maintaining public safety across urban areas in the country. However, while some Nigerians welcome the move, others are raising concerns about the approach and recruitment of citizens as volunteers to fight insecurity in the country. Here are some citizens' reactions.
When I asked the question to Mombli and Sunday, they told me that it was to train young people who will have the task of securing the interior of cities through the old system that we know as Mbanga. They will do the patrol, they will not be armed, just to secure the goods and people within Nigerian capitals. If that's the case, I don't find any inconvenience in it. And just to secure the goods and people within the capital of Ghana, if that's the case, I find no inconvenience at all. What we really want is that the M70 and the authorities really put the people in the right place to really take them and bring them to the bottom so that they can guarantee the security of our country, and not to take the youth to compromise their future.
How many soldiers have been called for the reintegration since the arrival of these soldiers? Since they saw that the situation is not going well, we can call on these brave soldiers who have been called for reintegration instead of calling on the Nigerian youth who are in war, because it is a war to be suffered, a war of asymmetry.
And those are some Nigerian citizens reacting to the launch of a national program to fight insecurity in urban areas of the country. You're still listening to Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world on WADR.org. We are live on Facebook at WADR English Service, as well as YouTube at WADR News. Here's a reminder of our top stories. New opposition coalition emerges in Benin ahead of 2026 elections. Nigeria's Electoral Commission charged to caution politicians of a premature 2027 campaign as it is illegal. Senegal deploys additional security forces along border with Mali amid rising terror threats. And still ahead in the news, Liberia and Sierra Leone launch ECOWAS free roaming service to enhance regional connectivity. We do have the press review, guest interview, and sports news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Let me take you to Liberia, where the government of the country and Sierra Leone have officially launched the ECOWAS free roaming service, allowing mobile subscribers in both countries to call, text and browse seamlessly across borders without incurring international charges. The launch took place on Monday in Monrovia during the opening of a 3-day ECOWAS telecommunications conference hosted by the Liberian Telecommunications Authority, LTA. This new roaming framework, established under the 2017 ECOWAS roaming regulation, is designed to lower communication costs and enhance regional connectivity across West Africa. WADR's Monrovia correspondent Abraham Parker reports.
During the launching ceremony, LTA Chairman Clarence Masakwa emphasized the initiative's importance at both national and regional levels.
For our citizens who are trading across the border, we want to make sure that through telecommunication, free movement of people and goods can be nothing less than possible. Liberians and Salunians, by Wednesday, we bring in live a free roaming exercise.
Meanwhile, Sierra Leone's National Communications Authority Director General Amara Bawi described the launch as a pivotal moment for digital accessibility and regional economic empowerment.
The road to full regional roaming integration requires continuous commitment from regulators, operators, and policymakers alike. We must invest in infrastructure, protect consumers, strengthen data governance, and harmonize policies in line with ECOWAS.
At the same time, ECOWAS permanent representative to Liberia, Josephine Nkrumah, reaffirmed the regional bloc's commitment to promoting integration to digital inclusion.
This is another milestone for integration and a borderless digital community. It is also a clear recognition and indeed an indication of the political will of the three countries represented here today. It shows that there is a clear and willing intention to bridge the digital divide.
According to authorities, Liberia is set to sign a similar agreement with Cote d'Ivoire. Additionally, discussions are ongoing with the Gambia and Ghana to expand the framework to more ECOWAS countries by the end of 2025. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
To some humanitarian issues, let's cross over to Guinea, where many families affected by last week's devastating floods continue to live in precarious conditions. The disaster claimed 17 lives and caused significant material damage across several communities. Amid emotional testimonies and renewed promises from the authorities, WADR's team spoke with victims and local officials to better understand the cause of the tragedy and the measures being considered to prevent such disaster in the future. Abdullah Hassan has the details in this report.
Standing under a threatening sky, Mamadou Sila, a resident of the neighborhood Enta, gazes at the ruins of what was once his home. Last week's torrential rains have reduced him to sleeping under the stars.
Water made 2 buildings fall over there. He came to our house. He pushed our door open. The water came in. We almost died. We were badly damaged. All the goods left.
In this same neighborhood, the scars of the flood are still visible. Deplorable roads, damaged homes, and displaced families. Gassimo Kamara, a district chief, says this tragedy is the direct consequence of chaotic urbanization. Faced with this alarming situation, the Guinean authorities say they have taken firm measures to avoid further disasters. Mohamed Siki Kamara, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Territorial Administration, announces the establishment of a disaster area prevention and rehabilitation plan.
People come to do anarchic construction, blocking the passage of waters. So it's about juggling the situation, taking appropriate measures with the technical services, including the Angus, which has identified areas at high risk of flooding. The institution which takes care of the curing of the cannibals with the support of iron to save human lives.
As the victims attempt to rebuild their damaged homes, attention is now turning to the authorities, who are expected to come up with concrete solutions to end the recurring flooding situation in Conakry, the capital. Between the humanitarian emergency and the need to rethink the urbanization of the capital, last week's tragedy signals a new warning.
A report by WADR's Conakry correspondent Chiano Alpha Ibrahim Abaudi and voiced by Abdullah Hassan. In a related development, the authorities in Mali are taking stock of the damage caused by flooding since the start of the rainy season last May. At least 12 people have died from the floods. That's according to the Interministerial Committee for Crisis and Disaster Management. Emo Edit has more in this report.
Floods caused by heavy rains accompanied by lightning strikes and strong winds have left 12 people dead as of July 31. According to the Interministerial Committee for Crisis and Disaster Management, 30 people were also injured in a landslide following heavy rains in a locality in the country. Between June and July, 5,300 people were affected. To limit the disastrous consequences of floods this year, the Interministerial Committee for Crisis and Disaster Management has announced the continuation of a number of actions. These include equipping all civil protection units to act quickly in the event of floods and providing flood and non-food assistance to people in affected areas. The Citizen Brigade set up are also on constant watch to come to the aid of residents in the event of floods or other disasters. The authorities are also continuing awareness campaigns among the population. At the same time, hydrological and topographical studies aimed at determining flood alert thresholds are continuing. Recall in 2024, floods in Mali left 76 people dead and 148 injured. Nearly 260,000 people were affected, according to the authorities.
Emo Edit filed that report.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
Let's take you back to Monrovia and join Abraham Parker for the newspaper review.
This edition begins with the Heritage newspaper, and the first story on the Heritage newspaper says United States named new U.S. ambassador to Liberia. Court grants Austin defendants U.S. $500,000 bond. And the last story on the Heritage newspaper says Liberia Telecommunications Authority launches ECOWAS free roaming with Sierra Leone, signs deal with Ivory Coast. That does it for the Heritage. And our next stop is the front page Africa newspaper. Congress for Democratic Change to appeal civil law court's eviction order seeks Supreme Court stay and review. 14 to keep headquarters. While the Congress for Democratic Change, which is noted to be Liberia's former ruling party, has been facing court eviction where they occupied as their party headquarters. Owners of their properties have asked that they vacate the premises. The first judgment was in favor of the properties owner, and the CDC took an appeal to the Supreme Court. Well, it has been a normal thing for Liberia, where political parties found it difficult to construct their own party headquarters. Some years back, the current governing party was in opposition after they lost the 2017 election, was also evicted from their party headquarters. Now it's the CDC. Our last stop is the Daily Observer newspaper. John F. Kennedy denies a fees hike for maternal surgical services, says internal memo is a proposal. George orders CDC to vacate headquarters, but party wrongs the Supreme Court game. And Central Bank of Liberia sets 2% standard fee for mobile money withdrawals. That does it for this Tuesday's edition of Press Review. From Liberia's capital, Monrovia. Thanks so kindly for listening.
Thanks so kindly also, Abraham Parker, for the Press Review.
Politics,
analysis on major news,
social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
In this segment of the news, we take you back to the political story from Benin, where the race towards the 2026 general elections is already heating up. A brand new opposition coalition has just been unveiled. They are calling themselves the Third Voice. It is a coming together of several political parties and movements, all with one goal: to offer Beninese voters a fresh alternative to the current government. They say it's about a new vision, a new direction, and giving the people more choices at the ballot box. So, what exactly does this new coalition stand for? How significant could it in part be on the Beninese political landscape? And To help us unpack this, here is Kopep Dabugat, international development expert and geopolitical analyst.
It's a good question to ask, having had the third voice being launched in Benin. And basically, this third voice has been launched by people who are largely unknown or not very heavy, really, in terms of their standing in the political terrain of Benin. The president has been a very maximum leader, and so far he has really exhibited his control over the country. So it would not be that easy to dislodge his coalition. Yes, he has declared repeatedly that he's not running, even though he has had those that are being touted to take over from him are also themselves largely unknown figures within the political terrain. So it's not really an easy thing because his coalition has been in power for a very long time. And with that, he has the coalition has had a very serious control over the politics of Benin. So it's an uphill task, but it's always good to have a strong opposition, a willing and dedicated and purposeful election. And the third voice in Benin seems to be a strong or rather a determined opposition.
Well, there seems to be a fallout between the president, some of the president's policies, and what affects the population. Do you think this may trigger the people to want to sway towards the path of the coalition?
Well, I would say, just like many other West African countries, their maximum rulership by the president in power, and it's not much different from what obtains in Benin. But there is no large-scale controversy in Benin in terms of the political space that will ensure a break from the current trend, given that the political ruling party in power is not really doing anything to antagonize the people per se. Yes, some of the policies have actually contributed to some economic difficulties and downturns, but it takes more than just that to turn, a citizen against the president and a political coalition that has been in power for some time. And then, of course, Benin is a very poor country. So because of that, you find out that citizens are a lot less powerful, to challenge the ruling party.
And that's Kopep Dabugat, international development expert and geopolitical analyst. And in sports this afternoon, Sankole Janko joins me in studio with details. Sankole, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, let's get straight to business because I know what you're looking at me like that. I know that's a particular game. Yeah, but your look says it all. You want to talk about a particular game, but I'll come to that momentarily. Okay. But in the meantime, Guinea kick off their Chan Pamoja 2024 campaign with a narrow 1-0 win over West African rivals Niger on Monday at the Nelson Mandela Stadium in Kampala. Elsewhere, Algeria kick off their campaign, that is their Chan 2024 campaign, in a dominant fashion with a 3-0 win over host country Uganda on Monday evening at the Park Nelson Mandela Stadium. And today we have some very interesting fixtures because Congo will face Sudan in their first Chan history as they open Group D action on Tuesday. Now, the game that everybody is looking forward to watching is that defending champions Senegal will kick off their Chan 2024 title defense with a much anticipated first ever meeting against regional rivals Nigeria. Both sides bring rich tournament experience, but this marks their maiden Chan encounter. Senegal remain unbeaten in open play against West African teams at Chan, while Nigeria face defending champions for the first time in their competition's history. So everybody, Christopher, is looking forward to watching this game. Senegal taking on Nigeria as they begin the defense of their Chan title this evening.
Right. Thank you very much, Sankole Janko. Of course, so Senegal, Nigeria, and of course, I was just telling Augustine that Nigeria is in form. Their ladies are doing so well. So now the gentlemen also coming into this Chan competition is like a whole benchmark raised so high.
It's a different ball game, bro. I know, of course, the Super Falcons were just recently crowned as the African champions.
Plus the Tigres also in the
Tigres,
basketball
of course,
team
basketball.
too.
And guess what? They beat Senegal in the semi-finals, and now they are playing Senegal in their opening encounter. So it promises to be a thrilling encounter tonight when, of course, defending champions Senegal begin the defense of their title against Nigeria's Super Eagles.
Right, thank you very much, Sankole Janko. And with that, we've come to the end of Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM and around the world on WADR.org. Thank you very much for listening, and many thanks to Ismaila Kamara and Umu Danyogo for the technical assistance. Do interact with us via our social media platforms, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook at WADR English Service. I am Christopher Ticho. Good afternoon and enjoy the rest of our broadcasts.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, New Me FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County,
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Niba County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and your opinion.